Hello, brothers and sisters. This is Beta Sai, Executive Director of the New York Taxi Workers Alliance. We have had a huge victory. App drivers, all of this time, the Department of Labor has been paying you a lower benefit rate. That's because they've been paying you as an independent contractor, even though 3 of our members won the right for you to be paid as an employee. Well, today we've won a new federal ruling in a case filed by the union and 4 of our members that requires the Department of Labor to correct this wrong. They must start to pay you as an employee. That means they have to look at your gross earnings and not your net pay. Brothers and sisters, for tens and thousands of you, that will mean receiving $504 a week instead of $182. And because they must go back to the beginning of when you became unemployed, for many of you, it will mean a back benefit up to $6,000. We got here because we've been fighting for employee status. Employee status is important. And brothers and sisters, we got here because we are a union funded by the drivers that fights for the drivers and wins for the drivers. So, now, I'm going to turn it over to our General Counsel, Zubin Soleimani, who's going to explain to you what you need to do to make sure that you apply for the correct benefit rate that you have a right to under the law. Over to you, Zubin.
Hello. To get your full amount of benefits, you're going to need to submit a request for reconsideration form to the Department of Labor. What this form does is it shows the DOL what your actual earnings are so they can determine your correct benefit rate. If you already submitted this form, you don't need to do anything else, even if you haven't heard back from the DOL yet. The DOL has until September 11th to decide the reconsiderations they have already received according to the court's order. If you don't hear back by that point, then definitely be in contact with us at the Taxi Workers Alliance. If you haven't submitted a form yet, and you would be entitled to a higher benefit rate, you should do this now. The form that you want to get is the unemployment reconsideration form. Some of you may have gotten a specific PUA reconsideration form. We think it makes the most sense to use the unemployment reconsideration form for most people. I know that form says that you have to do it within 30 days of the date that you got a monetary benefit determination, but you could still submit it now. The monetary benefit determination would have been the paper you got that said what your earnings were and your benefit rate were. Many people got one that said $0, so that's what that refers to. You can find a link to the reconsideration form at the end of the video if you don't have the copy that came with your monetary benefit determination. So to file a request for reconsideration, you need to do 3 things. First, you need to pull together your information about your income for the last 18 months. You need to put those numbers into the reconsideration form and then send your reconsideration form to the DOL along with your earnings information. So the first thing you need to do to get your income is you need to get your earnings statements from the companies that you work for. And before you start, you want to figure out what quarters you're going to need that data for. So if you applied for unemployment insurance before April 1st, you were going to get wages for the following quarters. Basically, you're going to be going back as far as October 2018 all the way through December 2019. So it would be those 5 quarters. If you applied on April 1st or after, you're going to start with January 2019 and go all the way through March 2020. You can use a chart like this one to add up your gross pay as you go along. Okay, now you are ready to find out what your gross pay actually is. And gross pay here means everything that the company's paid you. Basically, it's the amount that they put into your checking account. You know, some of you might be asking, why can't I just use my 1099s that are already broken down into months? Well, the 1099s, they don't actually reflect your gross pay. So we're going to go with this for now, unless we hear otherwise. So if you work for Uber, you're going to log into your Uber account at partners.uber.com. Once you're into your account, if you click on tax information and then monthly summaries, you want to get each monthly summary and download it and save it so that you can send it to the DOL along with your reconsideration. And for each month, you would use the number under the net payout to calculate your gross pay. That'll be the number that's going to be towards the bottom right of the page. You add up each of the 3 months to get your quarter and put that on your reconsideration form. Now, if you work for Lyft doesn't do monthly summaries. They only offer your weekly payment statement. So there's a little more work to do there. Once you log into your Lyft account at lyft.com/driver, you can click on payout information, view payments, driving history, and then just add up the total number listed under total payouts for all of the weeks in each quarter to find your gross pay for each quarter. Now, if you had worked for VIA, you'll just want to look at either your bank records or your weekly emails from VIA that show how much they paid you and when. Finally, if you worked for Juno, from what we've heard, drivers don't have a way to look at the earnings right now other than a 1099 or bank records. Because the reconsideration form requires you to write your earnings for each quarter, you would need to look at those bank records or emails from Juno if you still have them to show how much they paid you and when. In this case, if you're not able to access any records, and you have the 1099s, send those in. We just want to send the best information that you have available. If you worked for multiple companies or had another job, you want to make sure that you include the earnings from all of your jobs that aren't already reported on the reconsideration form. Okay, once you've collected that information about your earnings, you need to complete the reconsideration form. So you just fill out your personal information on the top of the form. You can find your claim effective/start date on the top right corner of the monetary benefit determination letter that the Department of Labor should have sent to you. You can also view that online if you log into your account with the Department of Labor and go to Unemployment Services and then click on Payment History. You can find the claim effective start date there. So fill in the information for each of the app companies that you work for here. You can enter up to 3 employers on this form, and you can find that information that's required here in the guide that we link to. Next, you want to use the information that you gathered about your data for each employer, and just make sure that you write down the amount for each company for each quarter. And then when you've done that, you just sign and date the form, put in your phone number. If you are faxing the form, you just want to make sure to enter the total number of pages, including all the documents that you're sending to them, and to include your earnings page there. And then finally, you want to submit the printouts of your earning records with the reconsideration form on top. And if you want to mail it, you can mail it to the Department of Labor, P.O. Box 15130, Albany, New York 12212-5130. If you're able to save the records electronically and you're able to fax it electronically, you can do that by faxing it to 518-457-9378. The DOL has also said that you can submit this through their secure messaging system on the DOL's website, but if you do that, be sure to either fax or mail it as well.
Okay, brothers and sisters, so you now have your marching orders. Fill out the reconsideration form, get active, become a dues-paying member of the union. Driver power, union power.